Good afternoon and welcome to our podcast. Once again, my name is Dr. Lennox Forrest. I'm a clinical counseling psychologist. I also do work in the area of sports psychology, which is an interest area for me. A few days ago, we talked about mental conditioning. We also talked about the NBA playoffs with Game 2 that was coming up. I want to say a little bit about mental conditioning. Most people haven't heard of the terminology, but sports psychologists use that terminology interchangeably with mental conditioning and mental training. And what it is that it's a scientific study that teaches principles to improve behaviors. When an athlete wants to be the best that he can be, he's going to utilize mental training, mental conditioning, because that allows the athlete to have an extra edge. Athletes who use these skills tend to think quicker and they tend to move faster. We know that there's an intimate relationship with the mind and the body. So when those two dimensions are working together, the athlete develops prolific skills. As a psychologist, when I watch sports, I can tell who's utilizing mental training, mental conditioning, because it's so evident. That player is going to play on a much higher level, and you can see it. They make decisions decisively. They don't hesitate. And as I stated in the previous podcast, 3 things affect the performance of athletes. And some of them, most of them probably don't know it. Let me give them to you again. Anxiety, pressure, and stress. Those are the 3 factors that athletes will struggle with, especially in pressure-filled games. You've heard of the terminology. I don't know what happened. Maybe they choked. Stress can cause a lot of negative factors when athletes are performing, because not everybody has the psychological constitution to handle stress. Dr. Hans Selye talked about the general adaptation syndrome. What happens to people when they are overstressed? He said certain psychological and physiological principles take place. The body goes into an alarm stage to deal with the initial stressor. Then the resistance stage is trying to deal with the stressor. And if the stressor becomes overwhelming, the final stage is the exhaustion stage. The person is depleted. He can't do anything. He can't go anywhere. It's like a car being out of gas. Finished. So the ARE, alarm, resistance, and exhaustion. So once again, those factors will take a toll on an athlete, especially if he's not able to deal with those factors in an appropriate way. Anxiety tends to be nervousness, worry, stress. You kind of lose your equilibrium. You become unbalanced, and if the stress is too much, you fall apart. And the pressure can't function effectively. You just don't know what to do. I talked about the 4 factors that athletes have to be aware of. Confidence. Watch for that on the court. When an athlete, a player, misses a shot, their head just goes down. That says the confidence isn't there. Because the confident player says, I'm going to make the next one. I got this. His confidence level is high. And when you have that confidence, it tells you, I'm going to make the next one. I want the opportunity to show that I can hit that next shot. And as I stated earlier, confidence is linked to the action center of the brain. So when an athlete has that confidence and he has that swag, he doesn't care if he misses 1 or 2 shots, because he knows he's going to get in the groove soon enough and hit 5, 6, 7, 8 shots. You've seen how Steph Curry gets hot sometimes. It's like he can't miss. He's confident. And when an athlete is confident, their skill level rises. Once again, that's that mental conditioning. Then you have self-regulation. Can the athlete control himself, especially in a pressured situation? When he gets a call that he doesn't like, does he go ballistic? Is he stomping around, yelling, just totally out of control? So there's no self-regulation. And then we talked about motivation. How motivated are they to play the game? We talked about intrinsic motivation. Internally, I want to be great. I want to show the world that I can rule the world on the court, on the football field, hockey, whatever. And then extrinsic motivation. Well, I'm getting paid, so let me do the job. But the athlete who's intrinsically motivated, you're going to get the most out of that athlete. The utmost, most. So the motivation is important. Concentration is also important, that they can just lock in. Nothing else matters. There's no deterrence from what they want to do. Really, really motivated. Really, really concentrating on what needs to be done. So remember those principles. Remember these variables as you watch the game. So let me say something now about Game 3. Winning Game 3 in the NBA playoff series is critical. It's crucial. Now you're probably saying, why is Game 3 so important? I'm going to give you some important variables to think about. Because when the team wins Game 3, it shifts the momentum. And the winning team has a 2-1 lead, creating both psychological and strategic advantages. Remember that. This lead reduces the pressure. Remember what I said earlier about pressure. Not everybody can perform when the pressure is high. So having that 2-1 lead for Game 3, the team that takes that lead is a relaxed team. The stress has decreased. There's not as much pressure. And the pressure now is on the other team, the opponent, to win. Taking game 3 increases the pressure on the other team, who faces a must-win situation in game 4. Otherwise, their backs are against the wall. So I'm going to say more about game 3 in the next podcast. So for those who are tuning in tonight, please be reminded of those psychological variables. Look who has some swag. And there's a difference between swag and being full of pride. Swag says, I got this. I can do this. I was made for this moment. I was built for this. Pride says, look at me. I'm the greatest player out here. No. But when they have some swag and some confidence, you can see it. Look at the players who are looking stressed, who look like they're under some pressure. Athletes who are confident and relaxed, they're smiling, they're loose. So look for that. And remember, game 3 is crucial. The next time I'm going to touch on some of the reasons why we are so infatuated, so obsessed with sports. We're a sports-crazed nation, a sports-crazed world. One of the main reasons why we love sports so much, it allows us to connect with other people on an emotional level. It formulates a sense of community. When we're all pulling for the same team, we're all in love with the same players. It helps us to feel good. And believe it or not, the research shows that sports is a really good thing for our mental health because it helps us to feel good. It gives us a sense of belonging. And one of the greatest psychological needs that people have is the need to feel that they belong. Sports gives us some incredible things. It helps your mental health because it takes away a sense of loneliness, a sense of despair, because it's exciting, it's exhilarating. People can't get enough of it. One of the biggest struggles today is loneliness and isolation. Sports helps to fill that vacuum. I'm going to read a quote before I conclude of what Nelson Mandela said about sports. Listen to this. In the words of Nelson Mandela, sport has the power to change the world. It has the power to inspire. It has the power to unite people in a way that little else does. It speaks to youth in a language they understand. Sport can create hope where once there was only despair. It is more powerful than government in breaking down racial barriers. It laughs in the face of all types of discrimination. He's absolutely right. As I wrap up, once again, Game 3 is pivotal. Who wins this game will set the stage for something that I will tell you about the next podcast. And if you're a betting person, you'll want to go out and bet. You can put the house on it, pretty much. It's been my pleasure.